You are the magic moment. There is nothing you need to do. Everything you're taught to do appears to bring you closer. You are this magic moment once you get it, once you choose the greater, or shall we say, greater you. Greetings, everyone. I am so very happy to be here with you. This is a great crowd. I love the background in this. I get to talk about what I love, which is healing. What we share is reconnective healing. And I love speaking about this to people who are simply not, well, a lot of you don't necessarily have a background in healing, and that's a great thing. Because there's a lot less to undo, shall we say. The theme for the Greator Festival is, I've just been informed, celebrate change, and it is perfect. Celebrate change is the perfect theme for us, and I think you're going to grasp this as we start to talk a little bit. So, why? Well, a lot of you are not familiar with me, I was told, so I'm going to give you a very short version of my story about how reconnective healing came about, and then you're going to see how it fits perfectly into the celebration of change. My story was, I practiced as a doctor of chiropractor, and somewhere in my 12th year, a few strange things happened. Let's just simplify it by saying I was awakened in the middle of the night by the lamp next to my bed turning itself on. I opened my eyes and I saw that my bedroom door that was closed when I'd gone to sleep was now wide open. There was a very clear feeling that somebody was in my house. So I got up, I found the largest knife I could get my hands on, found an old can of pepper spray, which was empty, but I figured who would know? I would carry it to look intimidating. And started to search through the house while my Doberman Pinscher cowered behind my legs. Let's just say after about 10 or 15 minutes of searching, no one was there. Logically, this had to be my imagination, even though my emotions didn't feel like it was my imagination. So I went to get back into bed, turned the light off again for the second time that night, went to sleep. But that Monday, when I went into my office, my patients started asking me, and my employees started asking me what I had done over the weekend, that I looked different, I sounded different. I didn't want to tell them any of this story, so I just smiled and continued with my work. I finished giving my first patient a chiropractic adjustment, allowed him to lie down on his back for a minute with his eyes closed before he got up. And when he opened his eyes, he asked me who had walked into the room while he was lying there with his eyes closed. I said, no one. He said, no, the person who came into the room. I said, no one came into the room. He said, I heard them. I said, they weren't there. He said, I could feel them. I said, they weren't there. So I figured it was just this one guy. My next patient, when she opened her eyes after the adjustment, said, who came into the room when I was here? And I said, nobody. Why? She said, the person at the door. I said, no one was there. She said, no, I heard them. I said, they weren't there. She said, I felt them. I said, they weren't there. Now, no one had ever said that to me before. And here I am with 7 patients in one day insisting that someone came into the room, walked around the room, ran around the room, and 2 of them actually looked me straight in my eye and said it was as if someone was really flying around the room near the ceiling. And I thought, this is a very strange day, but it got stranger very quickly, because as I held my hands near my patients, they started telling me they could feel where my hands were. So they closed their eyes and I moved my hands. Their bodies went into involuntary movements, what we call registers, fingers moving, facial muscles pulling and twitching, eyes darting back and forth while they were closed. When they opened their eyes, they told me they were seeing colors they'd never before seen, smelling flowers they'd never before smelled. Something was going on. Let's just say it didn't take long. And I'm telling you this story for a reason, a different reason than I usually tell this story. Something was going on that day that proved to be worldwide significant, but I didn't recognize it exactly at the time. All I can tell you is my patients who came in wheelchairs, some of them, not all of them, were leaving without requiring the wheelchair. Patients who had lost their vision or their hearing Not all of them, but a number of them started regaining those things that day. Kids with cerebral palsy and epilepsy were able to walk and run and play and speak normally and not have seizures and not need medications. Something significant was going on. And soon the media came, asked what I had done. I said I didn't do anything and don't tell anyone. And of course, the more I said that, the more news started flooding everywhere, and people wanted to learn this, what I later would call reconnective healing. And I said, you've got to be crazy. How can I teach this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm standing there, I'm waving my hands in the air, looking like an idiot. So you go outside, wave your hands around in the air, tell me what your neighborhood says about you. But more and more, we found that once people began to interact with this, and I began to show them how to feel it and how to play with it, they were able to access this too. It was fascinating because it took us way beyond any form of healing that we had known before in the way of the energy healing field, beyond the techniques and the rituals. Something was happening. So what's important about this? Remember, this theme is about celebrating change. After people heard my story, they started saying, well, sure, he can do it. Look what happened to him. Doors opened and closed. Patients' bodies moved around. And believe me, there's a lot more. Those of you who have read the book, The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself, you know there's a lot more to this story. But people who wanted to facilitate healing, and I believe that inside of us, really each of us, really to one level or another, wants to be able to facilitate healing, if not for ourselves, then for others, or both. People would say, sure, he can do it. All these things happened to him. All these things happened to Eric Pearl. He had this magic moment, but I'm waiting for my magic moment. Now, unfortunately, this self-defeating way of thinking is reinforced all around. If you look up on the internet, you're going to find lists of things that say, these are the traits of a healer. Are you a healer? Then these are your characteristics. These are your personality types. You're overly sensitive. You're not sensitive enough. You're this, you're that, you're the other. They're going to teach you, big teachers out there in the world, famous teachers are going to teach you that you need to meditate for 90 minutes, once, twice, 3 times a day for 30 days, 90 days, that you have to hold healing intentions and you need groups of people because it makes you stronger. The older thought processes used to tell you need to wear specific colors, only white or purple. Don't tease me about my purple. I'm wearing purple today because I like the color, that's all. That you have to wear certain colors, you shouldn't wear other colors. They're always telling you the how-tos. Use these crystals, use these wands, use these protections, use these rituals, shake off the negative energy, spray yourself down with alcohol, move your hands clockwise, move your hands counterclockwise, and all these techniques. And we're waiting for our magic moment. The magic moment. Is there going to come a magic moment? Or is this it? Do you need a magic moment, or are you the magic moment? You are the magic moment. There is nothing you need to do. Everything you're taught to do, everything you're taught to do appears to bring you closer. You are this magic moment once you get it, once you choose to get it, once you choose the greater, or shall we say greater, you. The first step is to let go of the steps. The first step is to let go of the steps, the techniques, the rituals. Why? Because they teach you to take a little step halfway again, step halfway again. So if you're over there and I'm over here and I take a step halfway towards you, then I step there halfway again, then I step there halfway again, I'm getting closer. This keeps me addicted. to new steps, to new rituals, to new techniques, to new healing toys, to new wands and crystals and protections, because I get closer and closer and closer. But each time I step there, I only step how far? Halfway. I only step halfway, and then halfway again and halfway again. How many steps do we need? Guess what? If I keep stepping halfway, I am never going to get there. If I step halfway 1,000,000 times, I will get closer and I will never get there. How many steps should it take? How much work should it be? How much effort should this require? How much time? How much focus to become who you already are? We think that someone special who lives in a cave in Tibet or works out of a church in South America is the healer we're looking for, and it's not. It's the person in our mirror. It's us looking back in. There are a lot of things we get to let go of. We get to let go of time and space. We get to let go of feeling that we need a group, that more people working together is going to get us closer to there, that we need to focus on an intention as if we know what the healing is. What we want to do when we think about healings for ourselves or others is we want to bring about a specific result. We want to tell whatever word you use here, God or love or the intelligence of the universe, call it Helen, call it whatever name you want to. We want to tell that huge intelligence what is needed, what is best, where to go, what to do, and how to do it. In reality, the gift for us is to allow ourselves to be a part of the healing equation, to be from the inside the witness and the witnessed. Simultaneously, we're neither, because witness and witnessed is object and subject. We are really healing itself. We are witnessing itself. We are the experience. We are one. There's no you and me. There's no you and me. We are one in this situation. We can't send a healing. We can't send it because that means that I'm here and someone else is there. And we have to send it over a distance, which means we are separate. But we are all one. The first thing in learning, the first step, to use that word, which is the non-step, in learning to facilitate healing and what we teach you in Reconnective Healing, is to receive. Well, if I receive here and you receive there, how am I going to get a healing from me to you if everyone's just receiving? That's because we're one. We're not separate beings, separate spaces, separated by time and space. That's where all the fears around healing used to come up, the need to protect ourselves and to use separation, protections, divisions. When you want to receive something, you receive it. And if you or I are one, what I receive, you receive, and everyone else receives. In healing, true healing, we don't focus on the symptoms. We don't try to fix an arm, get rid of a tumor, heal a kidney problem, fix this, fix that, fix it. That's fixing, that's treatment, that's therapy. Healing is the big picture. It's us getting out of the way, receiving and recognizing that we are one. We are the energy, light, and information, what science calls the Reconnective Healing Spektrum, the energy, light, and information beyond time and space that incorporates all the gifts of any known energy healing technique. And we don't even have to learn the technique. As a matter of fact, what we have to do is let go of the technique, because it's in our beingness that we receive. When we try to send, when we try to do, when we try to protect, we limit, we obscure, we block. But when we allow ourselves to be, we receive. Everything in the energy healing field has been energy. This energy, that energy, Reiki, Qigong, Jinshin, Jure, all the different energies Reconnective healing reconnects healing. It releases all of these little focal points, these different subsets of energy to become one, to expand into what science calls energy, light, and information. That is the reconnective healing field. And as we allow ourselves to receive that, your healing becomes mine. It's not just physical. It's not just mental. It's not just emotional. It is so huge that it has nothing to do with your symptoms. And by the way, oftentimes your symptoms vanish, the ones you recognize. But when we let go and allow this higher intelligence to guide the intelligence of God, love, and the universe, we find that healings are received by you as the facilitator, by you as the recipient, by others as the client. Everyone is in receiving. Reconnective healing allows you to reconnect to the greatness that you are. Once we get this, we let go of steps, fears, protections. We exist in a state of love and wholeness and essence. You know, when I wrote the Reconnection, which is now in about 40 languages, I really shared the essence of who I was on the inside, even though I discover more and more with time. Words do not do this justice. Words do not do this justice. Allow yourself to receive for a moment. Want to play a game? Let's see what receiving does. Take your hand for a minute. Open your fingers. Go ahead, just open your fingers. Spread them wide, really wide, so you can feel it pulling, maybe even at the skin in your palms. Watch your hands. I am not going to send. Hear me? I'm not sending anything to you. Here's what I'm going to do. You hold your hands perfectly still. Don't move that hand at all. I'm going to allow myself to feel and receive, okay? I'm going to allow myself to feel. You don't move your hand. I'm going to pull. I'm going to stretch a little bit. Watch your fingers and observe what you might notice. Maybe you notice nothing, or maybe you start to recognize a sensation. Watch your fingers, hold them really wide and still, and I'm going to start to pull. As I pull my hand further away, if this were just energy, the sensation you feel would have gotten weaker. But did it? Or is it changing? As I move my hand up and down, and you watch your hand, just your hand, are your fingers still? Or do they begin to move? Watch closely. Your fingers, watch your fingers closely. Observe what you feel. Observe what you see. Observe what you notice. And we are going to talk about this and handle a few more questions coming up just about now.